All right, let's dive into a legal battle that, on the surface, sounds a little crazy. We're talking about a company famous for what you wear under your pants versus a company that makes the steel that holds up entire buildings. It seems like a total mismatch, right? But this case shows us just how incredibly powerful one little word can be.
I mean, seriously, what could they possibly have in common? One is all about comfort and clothing, the other is the literal backbone of construction. But, in the world of branding and the law, the connection turned out to be surprisingly and very importantly, strong.
So here are our two players in this showdown. In one corner, you've got Biswanath Hosiery Mills, the company behind the household name LUX Hosiery. And in the other corner, we have Micky Metals Limited, who decided to sell their steel bars under the name LUX TMT.
So what was the big legal fight all about? Well, the hosiery company sued for something called passing off, which in plain English is basically saying, hey, you're stealing our good name and all the trust we've spent decades building.
The argument from the hosiery guys was really simple. They believed Micky Metals was trying to get a free ride, piggybacking on their success. They figured that the trust people had in Lux underwear might just rub off on their steel bars.
So let's break that down. What exactly is passing off in the eyes of the law? Well, it's when one company essentially tries to fool the public into thinking their stuff is connected to a much more famous brand. It's really an attempt to cash in on a reputation that you did absolutely nothing to build yourself.
Now here's the thing. To win a case like this, the hosiery company couldn't just say they were famous, they had to prove it. And their proof? Well, it went back more than 60 years. This brand wasn't some flash in the pan. It was built piece by piece, over decades of constant use, advertising, and getting trademark after trademark. It grew from a name people knew in one country to one with an international reputation. This wasn't just a brand, it was a legacy.
Just think about that for a second. 1957. That's a whole lifetime of building trust with customers, long before the steel company ever came into the picture.
In the court, it looked at cold, hard facts. This wasn't about feelings. They had witnesses, sales records, piles of documents, and a whole portfolio of trademark registrations that proved just how big the Lux name had become.
Okay, so this brings us to the real head-scratcher in this case. If one company is making underwear and the other is making steel beams, how on earth can there be a conflict? Let's get into how the court saw it.
Exactly. This is the question you've probably been asking this whole time. It seems like the most obvious defense, right? Hey, we're not competitors. Nobody is going to go to the store for a pair of socks and accidentally buy a steel bar. But in the eyes of the law, that completely misses the point.
And here it is, the crucial legal idea. The danger isn't that you'll confuse the products, it's that you'll confuse the companies. A regular person might see LUX TMT Steel and think, oh wow, the LUX Hosiery Company is expanding. Now they're in construction. That false link, that's where the real damage happens.
The court's thinking gets crystal clear when you put the two marks side by side. I mean, sure, TMT is a technical term for steel, but the part that grabs your eye, the part you hear and remember is LUX. The court decided they were deceptively similar and that this was absolutely going to cause confusion.
So, after weighing all the evidence, decades of history on one side, a very similar new name on the other, the Calcutta High Court was ready to make its call.
And here's the real kicker. The case against them was so airtight that Micky Metals, the defendant, they didn't even bother to show up and fight. They got the court summons and just didn't defend themselves. That tells you pretty much everything you need to know, doesn't it?
And the court did not hold back. It called what Micky Metals did an act of commercial piracy. Now that is some incredibly strong language. It paints a picture not of some honest mistake, but of a deliberate raid on another company's hard-earned success.
So the court issued a permanent injunction. This is a final, legally binding order. It means Micky Metals is forbidden, forever, from using the LUX name or anything that even looks or sounds like it on any of their products. Game over.
But wait, there's more. The consequences didn't stop there. First, stop using the name effective immediately. Second, they were ordered to figure out every single dollar of profit they made from the LUX TMT brand and hand it all over, going all the way back to 2009. Ouch. So what's the big lesson here? This case is about so much more than just socks and steel. It's a huge statement about what a well-known brand is worth and how it's protected in today's world.
And here it is, the key takeaway.
When a brand becomes genuinely famous, the law gives it this incredibly powerful shield, and that shield protects it way beyond its own little corner of the market, stopping anyone from watering down or cashing in on its reputation. That name becomes an asset all on its own.
This whole case really makes you stop and think. In a market that is just flooded with choices, what is a trusted name really worth? Well, as it turns out, the answer might just be everything. Thanks for joining me for this one.